Each layout in your drawing represents a printable sheet. By default, every drawing starts with 2 layouts. If necessary, you can add or remove layouts to accommodate the needs of any design. In this lesson, we'll learn how to manage layout tabs. On my screen, I have a drawing of a floor plan, and I've already configured a layout such that I can print this drawing. If I hover over layout 1, you'll see a thumbnail of that sheet. I'm going to select layout 1. And the first thing I'd like to do is rename this layout. Layout 1 isn't very descriptive. To rename a layout, I will double click on the tab name. This gives me access to the text. I will then type proposed floor plan and I'll press enter. Next, let's hover over layout 2. When you see a thumbnail like this, it means the layout has not yet been configured. I'm going to select layout 2, and you know what? I really don't need this layout, so I'd like to delete it. To delete a layout, right-click on the tab name and in the menu, select delete. You'll get a warning reminding you that you are in fact deleting this layout. That's fine, I'm going to click OK. When it comes to deleting the layouts, we can't remove them all. Each drawing requires at least one layout. If you look at the proposed floor plan layout, you can see it displays all of the geometry in the file. Maybe I'd like to create a new layout, one that highlights a specific office. To do that, I will copy this layout tab. To create a copy, I will click, hold and drag the layout. I will then hold my Control key, and when I release my mouse button, I'll create a copy. I will then click to select the copy. I'll double click and change its name. We'll call this office Detail 1. I'll then double click in this viewport. I'll zoom in and center one of these rooms on screen. And then I'll come over and open the viewport scale menu and select a measurable scale. Let's try 3/8 of an inch equals a foot. That's not too bad. I think we can go a little larger. I'm going to open the menu again. I can scroll the list up and get access to additional scales. I'm going to try 1/2 inch equals a foot. That looks like it will work much better. I'll pan this up, and when I'm finished, I'll lock the viewport scale. I'll then double click outside the viewport boundary to get my cursor out here on the layout. I'll then zoom in and I'll click the viewport edge. Select the grip and I'll tighten this viewport up around the office. As I do this, my running object snaps are turned off. That way they don't get in the way. That looks pretty good. I'll press escape when I'm finished and I'll rename this drawing. We'll call it Office Detail 1. Finally, I'll update the scale. We'll change this to 1/2 inch equals a foot. Let's create one more room. Maybe I'd like to highlight the office right next door to this one. To copy the layout tab, I will click and hold on the tab name. I'll drag this to the right and hold down the Control key. When I release the mouse button, I'll create the copy. I will then click on the new layout and then I'll double click to change the name. We'll call this Office Detail 2 and I'll press enter. I'll then place my cursor inside the viewport and double click. We'll unlock the scale and then I'll pan this over such that I can see the other office. When I'm finished, I will relock the viewport. I'll double click outside the boundary and then I'll come down and change the name of the drawing. In this case, the scale is just perfect. Now that the sheet is finished, I'm going to open the layer control and I'll come down to the viewport layer and turn that off such that I can hide the viewport boundaries. Using the same workflow, we can create as many layouts as necessary to print the design. The best part is each of these layouts is viewing the same overall floor plan in the model space. So if the floor plan geometry changes, all of the layouts will update as well. In the event you accumulate several layouts in a drawing, you can easily reorder them using drag and drop. For instance, maybe I'd like to move the proposed floor plan layout down at the end. To do that, I'll click, hold and drag this over to the right and I'll release. So no matter how many printable sheets are required for your design, AutoCAD's layout management tools make it easy to handle the plotting needs of any drawing.